Hi everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a while, but I've got some motivation because I feel like there's a lot of unfounded advice on a roadmap to being successful. Here's my point. I often feel like there are memes or videos out there that just show like 7 bullet points or 7 habits of the ultra successful. And without context, I don't think anybody knows where to take that first step. So how is a 25 or 28-year-old or even a 35 or 40-year-old who wants to kind of get down that successful road, where are they going to take their first step? That's what this channel is about. This channel is about business growth. I also love cars, so there's a lot of vehicle content on here. I've owned a lot of exotic cars, Lambos, Viper, Ferrari, things like that, Lotus. So there'll be a lot of that content on this channel as well. It's just 2 of my passions, vehicles and business. So let's dig in a little bit more about what motivated me to make this video. Oh, also, by the way, I have a step-by-step roadmap that I think is going to be more useful than anything to attaining your first $1 million. And then after that, you just rinse and repeat that process to continue earning millions and millions and increasing your net worth. So I'm going to put a link of that video. I don't want to rehash that entire video here. So if you're looking for a detailed step-by-step roadmap to obtaining sort of your first million, and maybe you're already a millionaire and you're working in corporate America and you're kind of trapped in that rat race and you want some freedom, you don't need to be starting from zero to watch that video. You can take some of your assets and implement what I recommend in that video. So highly recommend watching that video. I will put a link down below. So here is something that I saw one of my friends post on social media. I'm not going to call him out, but it's the type of thing that gets regurgitated and it doesn't really help anyone because, number one, I kind of disagree with some of the bullet points already, but it also just doesn't give any context. So like step 1 out of the 7 recommendations for highly successful people, read every day. I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer, read every day. Well, what should you be reading? What should you be doing that's going to improve, your day-to-day life? I think that highly depends on where you're at in life. To me, step 1 would just be trying to increase your income. Ultimately, I buy and sell businesses. So all advice that I kind of give on this channel is going to be geared around that. And if you don't have capital, again, in that other video, I show you some steps that I took in order to gain capital or improve my cash flow in the short term so that I can save up to make an acquisition and get these 250% ROIs, return on your investments annually when you make a business acquisition. That is the biggest determinant of wealth change in my life. So reading every day, okay, cool. But is that really what you need to be doing if you're earning, $30 an hour and you need to figure out how to go to the next step? I'd say read every day about how to maximize your income potential. What should I be doing on my day-to-day job? Maybe that's something you should be reading every day. Again, no context. Bullet point number 2, make your health a priority. Okay, seems pretty vague. Obviously, if you're not healthy, if you're bedridden, there's nothing you can do. So to me, that's a prerequisite to humans in life. I would say to button that down a little bit tighter, maybe cut back if you're young in your 20s, cut back on how often you're going out and drinking and partying, because that's going to drastically affect the next day and your production. The way I look at it is every decision you make in life, every single decision, here's your goal and here's the opposite of your goal, and you're here. So every single decision is either going to get you one step closer to that goal or one step further. And it doesn't matter if it's being healthy or staying up late or, focusing your time and energy on a girlfriend that you're just going to be fighting and spinning, your wheels and having negative energy. So just think about that in terms of, being healthy. How is this going to affect my performance the very next day? I think that if you're healthy physically and healthy mentally, then you're going to be performing at your optimum level the very next day. So being healthy, while I don't think it's a direct attribution to you being successful, I think it's almost a prerequisite. Okay, the next bullet point is develop an attitude of gratitude. I think that's, again, it's not a bad thing to have. Is that the very first piece of advice, or even the top 7 that I would give to somebody who is coming to me for advice on how to become wealthy or how to grow? No, that's not even something that I would even think about. Now, if I ran into somebody that just has a poor attitude and is woe is me all the time, that's probably something we'd need to address. But gratitude isn't going to get you $1, isn't going to get you $10. It's good to be grateful when you do attain those things, but this wouldn't even make my list, so I'm going to skip. The next bullet point is learn from people you admire. Okay, people you admire, I would leave that part out. Learn, of course, learn. I don't care if it's somebody you hate. There are people that I do not like that I can partition out their good attributes and their bad attributes. You don't have to be exactly like them to learn from them. In fact, you can even learn from other people's mistakes that you don't like. So it doesn't have to be somebody that you admire. It's always good to get a mentor. I would say find people that are doing what you want to do and learn from them, and be vocal about wanting to learn from them, because people want to help people who want to improve themselves. It's natural human nature. So, seek out mentors, be relentless, find a few of them, ask them how they made it. Find a YouTube channel like this one and watch the video of how to make your first $1 million. Follow that step by step. Learn in those ways. That's what I'd say on that bullet point. All right, number 5 says plan your day out the night before. This is one I actually really agree with. This is something tangible that you can do daily that will change your life. Look at your calendar, start putting things in your calendar, plan your day out the day before, because what can happen is you get distracted by little things, and then your high payoff activities, your HPAs, they don't get addressed. So put it in your schedule. I don't care what business you're trying to earn or increase. Put in, maybe 30 minutes a day or 45 minutes a day, making cold calls to potential clients. Things that are going to give you a return on your time. Make sure that you allot for the time in those. And I agree 100% with plan your day out the night before. So step 6 says keep your goals in front of you. Okay, I think I agree with this. It's not going to, again, directly impact dollars in your pocket, but the actions that you do on a day-to-day basis will directly impact the dollars that you're going to make. So again, is going out to the bar and blowing $200 that night on drinks and then being hungover the next day, is that the best allocation of your resources? If you don't have your goal in mind, you may end up losing track of your goals and figuring out what you need to do on a day-to-day basis in order to go towards that goal. One analogy that I use and my mom used to use when I was a kid is don't be a pinball in a pinball machine, letting life hit you wherever you want to go. Because at that point, if you don't have goals and you don't have direction, life always, inevitably, whether you have your crap together or not, you're a pinball, life hits you, you're going to be over there, which is not the way you wanted to go. If you have direction and you're trying to go there and you're headed there, but life hits you, okay, you'll get off course a little bit, but you can come back to go right back up to where you were wanting to go. So I think if you keep your goals in front of you and you mind that each action that you take will take you away from that goal or put you closer to it, then you'll be doing good. Okay, so the last one could be a little controversial. Number 7 says take action even when it's scary. While I agree with it in some scenarios, I think you need to take an educated action. Some people can fall into the pit trap of not having everything 100% planned out, so they never really go through with it. In fact, you don't need anywhere near 100% planned out in order to go through with the plan. You might only have 75% of your plan. Sometimes you might not even have that. You might say, I want to be in real estate. I don't even know how to do that. So I'm going to go take my classes. That's going to be my first big step towards that. That means you barely got a plan together. You're just taking that first step. And if you never did that, you would never become a realtor. You could never build a team of real estate agents. You could never have investment portfolios. So I agree with it in that sense that even if it sounds a little scary, you need to take a leap or take a risk. I think you just need to make sure that it's an educated risk. I buy and sell businesses. Very risky in some people's eyes. I've been doing it now for quite some time. So in my book, it's pretty comfortable risk, but it is a risk. And I had to take a risk the very first time. My wife was working in corporate America when we made our first acquisition and put together our first portfolio of businesses. So was it scary? Sure. We were excited though. We were educated. We have been researching it for a couple of years, and we finally decided to pull the trigger. And so when you take those kind of educated risks, it mitigates the risk that you're actually taking. So on the surface to other people, it may seem very risky, but if you've done your due diligence and you've researched it and you've planned for the worst and hoped for the best, then I think you're in a good spot, and I like that bullet point overall. So thanks for hanging out, guys, hanging out in the basement. I'm going to be putting some content because I'm traveling back to where I grew up, back to Thailand. So if you're into travel, I will definitely put together some content for that. I will also be uploading more content. Like I said, if you're looking for a step-by-step playbook on how to get your first million, your second million, your fifth million, check out the link down below that I have, how to get your first million and many more after that, because it's a detailed explanation of how to become wealthy. And I feel like it's not really on YouTube very much. You have a lot of big picture things like, be organized and a lot of big picture things that don't help you take that first step. This video definitely outlines a step-by-step process that you can go through, and it actually talks about some numbers as well, so you can go through the math and you can scale it up or scale it down depending on how much capability you have. And if you don't have any capital, it also paints a little bit of a picture of how to get into a position where you've got some capital. So check that video out. It's super, super beneficial. Check out some of the other videos too. I've got some Lambo footage. Other than that, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments, and I'm happy to respond, guys. Be blessed.
It's a